Section 2.7. In this section, we will divide a polynomial by a monomial. To divide a polynomial by a monomial, we'll divide each term in the numerator by the denominator and write the sum of the quotients. Recall that when you divide with like bases, exponents are subtracted. Also recall that answers are always written with positive exponents. So if we had a plus b divided by c, this would be equal to a divided by c plus b divided by c. Let's practice some examples. In this problem, we have a trinomial divided by the monomial 2xy. So each of the terms in the numerator will be divided by 2xy. We'll have 12x squared y divided by 2xy, a negative 6xy divided by 2xy, and a positive 4x squared divided by 2xy. Okay, now in this first one, y divided by y is 1. So we can cross that out. So we have 12x squared divided by 2x to the first. That will equal 6x to the first. We have a negative divided by a positive, a negative 6 divided by 2. So that will be a negative 3. xy divided by xy is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. And we have a 4x squared divided by 2x to the first y. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 goes into here once, 2 goes into here twice. So we'll have a positive 2x to the 2 minus 1. The y will remain on the denominator. So our final answer will be 6x, negative 3, positive 2x over y. Now notice that y that's in the denominator is only the denominator over the 2x, not with the 6x and the negative 3. Let's try some more. We have the binomial 16b minus 40 divided by 8. So we'll divide 16b by 8 and negative 40 by 8. So that will leave us with 2b negative 5. In example B, we have 3x squared divided by 6x and negative 6x divided by 6x. We can reduce 3 6. 3 goes into here once. 3 goes into 6 twice. So we'll have x to the 2 minus 1, because we're simplifying the x squared over x. The 2 remains on the bottom, and we don't need to write the 1 because 1 times x would just be x. Notice 6x divided by itself is 1. So our final answer will be x over 2 minus 1. We have a trinomial. Each term of that will be divided by a squared, so we'll have a to the 8th divided by a squared, negative 5a to the 5th divided by a squared, and negative 3a to the 3rd divided by a squared. So that's a to the 8 minus 2, which is a to the 6th, minus 5. A to the 5 minus 2 is a to the 3rd. And then minus 3. A to the 3 minus 2 would just be a to the 1st. Example D, we have 12x to the 3rd divided by 3x, negative 15x squared divided by 3x, negative 6x divided by 3x, and positive 9 divided by 3x. And recall there's implied ones here, and we're subtracting our exponents. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we get 4x to the 3 minus 1, which is x squared, minus 15 divided by 3 is 5, x to the 2 minus 1 is just x to the first. X divided by x is 1, so we just have negative 6 divided by 3, which is negative 2, plus, we can reduce 9/3, but be careful here. 3 goes into here once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So notice we have a 3 on the numerator. The x just remains on the denominator. Once again, that denominator x is only below the 3. All right, let's watch our signs on this one because we have 2y squared divided by negative 2y. We have negative 6y divided by negative 2y. And we have positive 9 divided by negative 2y. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, but a positive divided by a negative is negative. We have y to the 2 minus 1, which is y to the first. A negative 6 divided by a negative 2 is a positive 3. Y divided by y is 1. So we're just left with the 3. Now we have a positive 9 divided by a negative 2. Okay, so that's going to be a negative. We can't simplify that at all, so our answer will just look like that. Negative 9 over 2y. In example F, we have a binomial divided by 8xy to the second. So we have 8x squared y squared divided by 8xy squared, and a negative 24xy divided by 8xy squared. So 1 there. So 8 divided by 8 is 1, y squared divided by y squared is 1. So we have x to the 2 minus 1, which is just x to the 1, or x to the first. Negative 24 divided by 8 is negative 3. 8 goes into here once, 8 goes into here 3 times. X divided by x is 1. So notice we have negative 3, and it's y to the 1 minus 2, which would be y to the negative 1. So we have x minus, the reciprocal is y, the reciprocal of y is 1 over y. That's forcing the y to the denominator to make the exponent positive. So we have x minus 3 over y. All right, we have 10x to the third y divided by 5xy. We have negative 15x squared y divided by 5xy. We have positive 5xy divided by 5xy. And we have negative 10y divided by 5xy. So y divided by y is 1. We have 10 divided by 5, which is 2. X to the 3 minus 1 is x squared. Minus 15 divided by 5 is 3. X to the 2 minus 1 is just x to the first. Y divided by y is 1. Plus 5xy divided by 5xy is 1. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Because 5 goes into here once, 5 goes into here twice. So notice we have a 2 on the numerator. And we have an x left beneath the 2. All right, I'll go ahead and do these u-tries. We have 9x to the 6th divided by negative 3x. We have negative 6x to the 4th divided by negative 3x. We have negative 3x squared divided by negative 3x. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. We have x to the 6 minus 1, which is x to the 5th. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. X to the 4 minus 1, which is x to the 3rd. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. We have x to the 2 minus 1, which will just leave us with a positive x. We don't need to put the 1 in front of it. Example B, we have 22a squared b divided by 11ab squared. We have positive 11ab divided by 11ab squared. we have negative 33ab squared divided by 11ab squared. 22 divided by 11 is 2, so notice we have 2. A to the 2 minus 1 is just a to the first, but b to the 1 minus 2 is b to the negative 1. Okay, we'll take care of that negative exponent in a minute. A divided by a is 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1, so we just have b to the 1 minus 2, which will be b to the negative 1. Negative 33 divided by 11 is negative 3. A divided by a is 1. B squared divided by b squared is 1. So notice here the reciprocal of b is 1 over b. That's going to force the b to the denominator, plus the reciprocal of b here for this middle term is 1 over b to make my exponent positive, minus 3. We have 16a squared b divided by negative 4ab squared. We have negative 20ab divided by negative 4ab squared, and positive 24ab squared divided by negative 4ab squared. 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. A to the 2 minus 1 is just a to the first. B to the 1 minus 2 is b to the negative 1. Negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. A's cancel. We have b to the 1 minus 2, which is b to the negative 1. Positive 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. A divided by a is 1. B squared divided by b squared is 1. So we have negative 4a. The b is being forced to the denominator to make the exponent positive, plus, notice here the 5 can remain on the numerator. The b is being forced down to make the exponent positive, and then just minus 6. Example D, we have negative 3x squared divided by negative 3x squared. We have positive, a positive 7 divided by a negative 3 makes that negative. Let's see if I can erase that. So we have negative, we have a 7 here, we have a 3 on the denominator, but x to the 1 minus 2 will give us an x to the negative 1 in the numerator. A negative 6 divided by a negative 3x squared. Well, let me just write that. Negative 6 divided by negative 3x squared. 3 goes into here once. 3 goes into here twice. Okay, a negative divided by a negative is, well, 3x squared divided by 3x squared is 1. We just end up with a positive 1 minus the x. The reciprocal of x is 1 over x. That's forcing the x down to the denominator with the 3 to make my exponent positive. A negative divided by a negative is positive. So we have a 2 in the numerator, and we have x squared remaining in the denominator. Where'd my arrow go? All right. And that concludes the last section of Unit 2.